My name is Jalen Jackson, and my project is Columbus Christopher Park on the western side of Chicago. The goal of this project is to revitalize the natural areas of the park and create a more interactive experience for the new users of the park while respecting the park's historic elements. This is in collaboration with the Chicago Parks Department. As shown here, a lot of the park has changed slightly compared to how it was originally designed in the early 1900s, especially along the south side with I-90 taking out 9 acres of space. However, these changes felt random and led to a mismatch of activities. This worsened by the existing activities catering to a demographic that no longer exists in the area. As you can see in this timeline of Columbus Christopher Park, most of these significant events take place in the first half of the 1900s and significantly drop off. This coincides with the white flight of the area that had residents moving out of Chicago and into the neighboring Oak Park. Even today, there is not a lot of activity, either vehicular or pedestrian, near the park. Even the population density along the north and south of the park is disproportionate to the west and east sides, even though the east side is where most of the users for the park would be originating, including the school to the northeast side. I created 3 goals for the redesign of Columbus Christopher Park to meet in order to accomplish the main ideas set out previously. Each of these goals has different landscape intervention methods associated with them. These interventions were later made into design elements in the redesign of the park. As you can see, the different landscape interventions are color-coded to each goal they are associated with. It also gives a general look at the location of each of these elements in relation to the current state of the park. Each of these elements was later implemented into the design. Sprouts Haven is the redesign of the existing children's playground and garden on the northeast side of the park. Currently, there is only a small traditional playground with a small garden. The rest of the area is rarely used and includes the recently restored council ring and a neglected wading pool and pavilion. Jensen Central is a reflection of the ideas commonly associated with Jens Jensen, the landscape architect who originally created the design for Columbus Christopher Park. It is currently an open field used as a homeless encampment. There were several design iterations of both Sprout Haven and Jensen Central. Many of these redesigns were the results of research and critiques given by key informants, the 2 biggest contributors being Maxwell Webster of the Chicago Parks Department and Allison Cuddy of the Chicago Cultural Center Advisory Board. In this image are the 2 plan views of the site, with Sprout Haven being on the top and the plan for Jensen Central being on the bottom. Both of these are oriented so the north is being on the right side of the image. As you can see with the planting plan, there was a lot of effort put into choosing native plants that were already a part of the ecosystem of Columbus Christopher Park. The grading plan also tried to ensure that there was as little disturbance as possible on the area, both for ecological and cost-efficient reasons. Jensen Central, while being a large area, is mostly made of prairie plants and natural grasses, with a tree grove serving as a buffer with Interstate 290. However, there are 2 other programs, an amphitheater and a quote-unquote man-made waterfall area. The prairie and water programs are both two staples of a Jens Jensen design with a focus on natural systems and plants. While the amphitheater serves as a kind of callback to a previous area within the natural area of the park that was used to host plays but has since been overrun by invasive plants. Sprout Haven is really just an expansion of the existing playground area while getting rid of a decrepit wading pool and creating more draws for children and families in the area. It also creates more interest while drawing them further into the park. The 3 additional draws to Sprout Haven are a terraced sunken natural playground, an observation cabin that doubles as a place to look out at the lagoon and participate in bird watching, and a nature nexus, one of the many stops on the historic cultural interactive trail that is present throughout the park. This concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening.